I mean, there's like no fighting on disc 4, which makes sense. It's supposed to be a chill from the action of like disc 3.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Maybe I should watch the cartoon, man. You know? I remember I watched a couple of programs about Guilin, you know, after Shenmue 2. Just to see what it was like and that. Some dude was like brushing his teeth with fucking dirt or some shit. I distinctly remember that. He's like, there's no toothpaste on the island, you know? So it's like, we need to brush our teeth with this shit. And it was like black ass stuff. I forgot the way to go here. There's literally nothing to buy in this place whatsoever. No, really, there's a shop here, but... I'll have a look in here, but... Yeah, there's not much happening. Yeah, nothing to buy in here. It's just a... You know, it's just for the sake of being here. Check this shop right quick. Oh no. Well, this is basically the whole disc just roaming around, you know? Looking at the trees and shit. Which is cool. just imagine how cool, like, I still think the graphics look fantastic on this game, man. But, like, a true next-gen game, if it could, like, utilize graphics of today, would make this look really nice. You can actually walk all the way. The game kind of lets you skip areas too here. You can like walk all the way with Shenhua and see the whole island, or you can kind of like skip ahead a wee bit when you're talking to her. And that's kind of how I do it now. Because you can say, let's hurry on ahead to the next area, you know. No, I'll probably play it like that, to be fair. Never really gets explained why Shenhua is real. Do you know what I mean? Like we fucking dream about this chick in Shenmue 1. And then in Shenmue 2, like, she's like real in that, you know? No questions asked. No, really. Oh, that looks really sick, that storm, bro. I don't know why it looks relaxing to me, but... Good job it worked out. Saved the goat. Oh my god, Shenhua looked like shit in Shenmue 3. Bruv, what happened? Let me just Google her again. If it is how I, like, remember her.
なたが助けてくれたの？
大丈夫か？
ありがとう。
The outfit looked like shit.
あんな無茶を。
Yeah.
助けなくて
I don't know what
いいなと
happened.
思っただけ。
Looked like she was wearing something that was like
白い鹿は
10 times her size, you know, just...
守り神。白い鹿が。
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
鹿。村。
ハッカソン、私の村。
ハッカソン。どこにある？
Yeah, something went wrong.
空を登った先にある。
遠いのか？
案内する。私、シェンファ。あなたは？
俺はリョウ。葉月リョウだ。
Hazuki Dio.
よう。ついてきて。
I don't know. Sean, I have no idea. You know, like, games cost millions to make. You know what I mean? And they did not have much money. Like,
あなたはどこから来たの？
which is why they should have honestly,
リョウはこの国の人じゃないでしょ？
ああ。俺は日本
we
から
talked about it
日
before.
本？どこにあるの？
They should have just had it as, like, Dreamcast era graphics. People joke that the games got Dreamcast graphics, but in reality,
日本
if it
は
actually did, it would have had more money to spend on better shit.
ああ。遠いな。外国だからな。
東の。
If it literally looked like this, it would have been better.
うん。なんでもない。
Do you know what I'm saying? But in the attempt to appeal to the mainstream and get better
ハ
graphics,
ッカソンっ
it
て
ended up looking fucking like a joke of a
山あいに
game
あるの。
because it's not got enough money to have top tier graphics. So it gets stuck in this weird place between Wallace and Gromit and good graphics.
山を2つ。
Clay looking
シェンファーは
shit.
小さい。
You know what I mean?
家族も？
So like they really should have just had Dreamcast era graphics.
シェンファー。
何？
And it would have been better off because they would have had better money to spend on the game as a whole. You know what I mean? They cost millions. There's no way Kickstarter could fund like anything remotely that Shenmue needed. You knew it was going to be trash.
金木犀。
The first ever look of Ryo.
この先
It's like they didn't even know how to make Ryo look like Ryo. You know how many like revamps they went through?
綺麗でしょ？
It's amazing.
この季節
I couldn't believe it as well when I first seen it.
いっぱいに花をつけるのよ。
When you see what Ryo looks like in Shenmue 3, everyone was like, what the fuck is this mess of a man? You know? And then we seen like revamped attempts was like, what is going on?
木星が
It's like they couldn't even make the character look like Ryo.
計輪
Eventually the last result somewhat like resembled him. But even then it does not look like this guy, like 100%.
たくさん咲いてるな。
ええ。山ごと金
It's like they
木犀
couldn't
に
even like
包まれたみたい。
do that in the new engine.
なあ。シェンファー。
何？
Anyway, we hurry on with these areas.
先を急ごう。
うん。
Because like you can see all the areas if you want, but you just skip it, you know. Yeah, dude, that's what happens. Like, just take another game that kind of has like shitty looking menus. Kickstarter game like Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Is it Bloodstained? Yeah, Bloodstained. Is like a
綺麗だな。
Kickstarter
お
game.
花みたいでしょ？
But like the fact that Bloodstained done okay is because it's a 2D Metroidvania. But that also suffers the same problem of menus and title screens looking a bit... They look a bit whack. You know what I mean? That's just how it goes. We Kickstarter games in general done in Unreal. The menus look like, honestly, trash, you know?
ああ。花も咲いてないのに。
ここは超多種
And
の
Shenmue 3 also suffered that problem of menus looking absolute trash. So like those areas always lack polish in Kickstarter games.
雨が降った後に 葉についた雫を吸うの。
Most Kickstarter games.
よく見かけるわ。
そうなのか。シェンファー、
何？
Nani?
先を急ごう。
But yeah, I don't know. There was just nothing like in terms of graphics and presentation of Shenmue 3. It would never have done good unless they purposefully made it like a Dreamcast game. The problem is though, it's like that's what I mean. It should have looked like a Dreamcast game. It would have been better off if it did. Bring on the next level of indie development of let's make Dreamcast era looking games. Let's do it, you know? Why not? Because it's going to happen eventually. Why not just do it? Like, because you're not going to be able to have good looking graphics anyway. You might as well. That's genuinely how I look at it. They should have done that.
気をつけて。気をつけて。
And at the end of the day, the mainstream audience, I think the graphics are shit anyway. So like, you went out of your way to get better graphics. It didn't look that good anyway, just for people to still shit on it. So in the end of the day, who did you really appeal to apart from just hurt the fans? You know, when you could have made like a better game. Do you know what I mean? And now he's like saying, oh, I want to appeal to the more mainstream audience with quests for Shenmue 4? Fucking... Is that honestly the biggest priority on his mind? Fucking quests? Lol, man.
道が途切れてるな。
ここを越えていきましょう。
ここを登るのか。
ええ、滑りやすいから足元に気をつけて。
It's just such a shitty thing to be worried about with your next game. No, like, okay, I'll fix the story, or we'll do this, we'll, you know, we'll try and make the graphics a wee bit different. Like the main areas that people complained about. Nobody complained about fucking lack of quests. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever. I don't even think that would appeal to anyone. Like, if you want to appeal to the masses in terms of an RPG, you need to make it linear. Less quests is better for them. Like, realistically. Now, I'll say this during my entire experience of playing on the Dreamcast version of the game. As much as I love the Dreamcast version and prefer it, I'll be brutally honest and tell you that I've played this game mostly on the Xbox. Mostly because the Dreamcasts weren't any good consoles for lasting the test of time with the reset problem that they all had, so you kind of had to play it on Xbox. But like this game on Dreamcast, because it's been a long time since I've played this version specifically, like there's no been a scene in the game that's no lagged. Do you know what I mean? And it's something you forget about, is that this game is very laggy on the Dreamcast. It doesn't ruin the experience at all, but like every scene is laggy. Do you know what I mean? Expected, because this game like pushed it to the limit, but it doesn't lag in these areas half as much on an Xbox because it's just stronger. So there is that. Do you know what I mean? To play the newer ones, it'll be a smoother overall experience. Because like Shenmue 1 on the Xbox doesn't lag like this. But Shenmue 2... Shenmue 1 just doesn't lag. Well, it does lag a wee bit. Like we talked about it when it did lag in some areas, like in the harbour. But it's not like every scene is lagging in Shenmue 1, but Shenmue 2 is, whoa, a laggy game.
綺麗な湧き水
So I
のあ
am
るところ
actually
には
mostly used to the
必
Xbox
ず
version,
係がいるの。
so coming back to
Yeah.
this Dreamcast version
ええ、
is really quite a shock to the system at how much it lags actually.
こんなにたくさんの
I
ホ
still
タル
think
を
it's
初め
like
て見たな。
I'd prefer, but
日本にはいないの？
it's more responsive, believe it or
子
no.
供の
But
頃にはよく見に行ったけど、最近はかなり数が少なくなってるんだ。
待ってるよ。
え？
茂みの低いところで
I mean,
光って
the
る時は
gist of this
気をつ
disc
けないと。
is essentially just like a sightseeing disc where we get to know
ヘブン
Shenhua.
の目。
そう、気づかないで
You
手
know,
を出
she
したら
tells us
離れる。
about the land of Guilin,
そうなのか。
fireflies and sunflowers and shit.
ここまで来れば森
You
の
know,
出口はあと少し。
waterfalls, and like that's what it is. That's what this. So like that's really all they're talking about in that is like trying to get to know each other.
よし。
That is this disc. Do you know what I mean? There's no any. I've never ever seen like anything going on between Ryo and Shenhua at all, in terms of like love interest. She's no like some fourth woman that fancies him. Nah, man. Nah, no way. Whereas you can obviously say that for Nozomi and Joy. But like when it comes to like shoeing, there's stuff going on there too. But like with Shenhua, nah, man. Now I cannot remember if Shenmue 3 does anything between them. Don't think so. Couldn't care if it did, to be honest. I do like the sound of the QTEs being more happy-go-lucky in this disc. Do you know what I mean? Like the change of the QTEs. It's pretty cool. What, this part of the... Dude, they thought ahead with the Shenmue games. Do you know what I mean, Sean? Like, damn, dude, there's so much stuff out there too. From like back in the day. I mean, you've obviously seen the Sega Saturn versions, right? These games are almost fully finished on Sega Saturn. Crikey. Actually hilarious when you think about it. There's a bunch of beta footage and all that stuff that still exists out there from Shenmue 2 that was never used. People assume it was early Shenmue 3 stuff. There's also like trailers from back in the day with like Now-san sitting under a fucking tree, you know, one of the Shenmue trees and all that, which is not even remotely a thing in the real Shenmue 3. Why would it be? Because like Shenmue 3, if there was any story that he thought of back in the day with Shenmue 3 in that, it's I'm telling you now, it's no in that Shenmue 3 that we got. You'd have to be stupid to think that the Shenmue 3 that we got would have been the same one back in the day of real Shenmue 3. No fucking way. No way. Do you know what I mean? Like there's like early Shenmue concept footage with Shenmue 1 and 2 style graphics of some Shenmue 3 stuff. You know what I mean? Out there. Not much of it, but there's some of it. And now Sun's one of the things, sitting under the bloody tree in the snow and that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think Shenmue 3 would have been well different. It wouldn't have been just that. No way. And what cracks me up as well, though, is kind of like, I don't know, I think there's definitely a few people out there that think the series should have ended on 3. Impossible. I'm telling you, man, impossible. That wouldn't have even been possible. No way. There's too much shit to tell for it to have just ended on 3. But at the end of the day, what we did get was a proper continuation of Shenmue 2, and didn't they move the story forward anyway? So what did Shenmue 3 really accomplish is also like a huge question to ask. That's what I'm saying. If Shenmue 4 does happen one day, we can kind of be like, okay, we can kind of just take a snippet from that game. Just literally the end cutscene will do us. And like that's all you need to know for Shenmue 3 really, in terms of plot. That's what I'm saying when I talk about like, what did Shenmue 3 really accomplish with its story at the end of the day? Because if people are like, oh, we should have ended it on Shenmue 3, how the fuck would they have squeezed the whole entire rest of the saga that they had planned into one game? How? And I don't think people understand. And like how much of the story is to tell. But also on the other hand, when I look at what he did tell with Shenmue 3, it's like, dude, this game might as well go on unacknowledged in terms of the entire storytelling of the franchise anyway. Do you get what I mean? So it's like, we didn't progress any story in 3 anyway. It's almost like we created a game out of horse shit, in a way. That's what I mean. It's like, dude, why does this game exist here? Literally told us nothing, apart from the end cutscene. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing in it, but it's literally the end cutscene about the only thing that matters. But even then, it's still a shitty retelling of the ending of Shenmue 2 in a way. But no even half as good. That's what I mean when I say there's just no that much. And it's almost like Shenmue 3 just acknowledges that Nao-san is a part of the Chiyu men, which we already fucking knew anyway. But it's the first time you see her is in Shenmue 3. So that's what I mean when we just think about, people are like, oh, we should have just like, how would people have wanted it? So when we fight Lan Di in Shenmue 3, that would have been the end of it? Wow, that would be so anti. If that would have been it for the whole series, just always just beat Lan Di there, oh, enough said, game done. No, that's not how it works. But like, there is also the fact that like, the story that did get told with Shenmue 3 was like non-existent in the first place, to the point where, do you know what I'm trying to get at though? I'm getting fucking triggered thinking about it. Do you know? Jesus. I can understand people saying, oh, I wanted it to end on 3. Impossible though. Impossible with the amount of story that was to be told. But I'm also like, there's loads of story to be told, but he didn't fucking tell any of it with Shenmue 3. So it's like, what was he doing? You know what I mean? That's what really fucking annoys me. And actually triggers my ass. It's like, what were you doing? You know? I just don't understand that. It's like we've got so many games to get through, Yu Suzuki. You've got so much of a huge story to tell. Why did you tell us fuck all in 3? You know what I mean? That's really the thing. Dude, what are you doing, man? People are like taking the piss out on Reddit, and I hate to say it. Or like call him an alcoholic and that they do these days. He was like, oh, he just was in it for the money. He likes his wine, you know. And I was like, dude, you're trolling. But nah, they're no trolling actually. It's actually a thing, believe it or not. Some people think he was just after a payday. And when I look at the story, I'm like, dude, you know, things back it up. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to get triggered thinking about Shenmue 3. Real easy. I mean, we can all say as Shenmue fans at the end of the day, it was really nice that Shenmue was acknowledged after years and years of people begging for something. You know what I mean? But like, I just feel like everything was such a clusterfuck that it would have been better if they just left it. At the end of the day, I think the better thing that happened was the 1 and 2 HD remasters. As much as I've shat on the HD remasters for being buggy messes that people take the piss out of the HD remasters, saying, oh my god, how could people play this game? It's so buggy. But like, they don't understand that those bugs are in the OG, which is why I still play the OG. alright? But, like, that's what I mean. At least they exist for people as they can play it. You know what I mean? The HD remasters.
あったかい
I think that's, like, the better thing. Like, both those HD remasters are better than 3. You know what I mean? Because they're still 1 and 2 at heart. So, there is that.
りょう
You know?
何か話して
シェンファーは普段村で何をしてるんだ？
畑で野菜を作ったりヤギに餌を
Yeah, Sean. I don't know, man. No worth playing. I don't know, Rickerai, dude. I mean, if you like Shenmue and that, I think it is worth checking out at least once. I've played it once, but
シェンファーは今いくつなんだ？
I don't know. I didn't enjoy anything about it, mate.
りょうは学校には
言っていた。
Watch a playthrough. I think it would be better to watch a playthrough than play it, personally, because I think the game is no
なあ、
that fun to play.
学校には友達がい
They
て
introduced
よく
there's a lot of padding in the game,
シェンさえなければもっと
and when I mean padding, I mean padding.
学校か
Like what the fuck, you know?
楽しそう
There's also a mechanic in the game that is actually disgusting. You know how we actually walk around in Shenmue and run? Well, you can't do that without fucking eating food. Hilarious. Sounds kind of cool on paper though. Introduce mechanics of food, but it becomes just annoying as shit. So you got a pocket full of garlic, eating it every quarter of an hour just to make sure you can fucking run from A to B. So stupid. So they force you to gamble in a way and participate in the festivities that suck in Shenmue 3 just to be able to fucking move. It's so stupid. You know what I mean? It's so silly. Ugh. And then there's so much... I can't even remember the padding, that's how pissed off I was about it. But there's things you have to do in order to move on with the story. And I remember it just being annoying and being the most padded thing I'd ever seen. Ugh. And the fighting is beyond shocking. Because it's not even Shenmue 1 and 2 fighting. Like I was saying, I don't know if there's a... There probably is some licensing issues because it's Virtua Fighter's fighting system, you know, which Sega own, and Sega never done Shenmue 3. So, like, maybe they had to take out the fighting, which I respect. But at the end of the day, they replaced it with an absolute trash fighting system that's the laggiest piece of shit ever, and unresponsive nonsense. And when people try and actually, like, defend that fighting system, I don't know what to say about it, other than they don't like fighting games or anything, or beat-em-ups in general, if they have to defend that shit. Also, as well, there's a mastery system in the game, which is also garbage, and not even necessary, just so much trash. Trash everywhere. But yeah. Yeah, the health, yep. That's what I was saying, man. I like the shit, the bloody forklift stuff, that's what I mean. So I've got, like, trust me when I say how bad this shit is, you know. It's just not a fun experience. All that as well, just to, like, get absolutely no story out of it, was just, like, the biggest slap in the face in terms of a game. It's Shenmue and everything, and all it is with Shenmue is, like, the name. You know what I mean? And it's almost offensive that it was called Shenmue 3, because it doesn't do anything to progress the story whatsoever, apart for the end couple of cutscenes. But even then, it's just like a Shenmue 2 light in terms of the cutscenes. It's like such a worse end fight than what Shenmue 2 ever was. It's like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? Disappointment. And then they had the balls at the end as well to, like, rub it in. The story goes on. Fuck off. It was just hilarious that the story goes on in Shenmue after 3. You're trolling me. Because they just didn't... The story never even moved from Shenmue 2 to 3. It was, like, just hilarious, you know? I don't know. I would watch a playthrough rather than put yourself through the agony of playing that garbage, to be fair. But it's cheap enough to play. Do you know what I mean? It's... Man, I don't know if I'll ever play Shenmue 3 again. I did find it a bad game. The acting and everything is 10 times worse than any of the games before it. It's almost like they just totally missed the point of what people like about Shenmue as well. You know, and like whenever you hear people talk about it on YouTube, all they do is kind of slate Shenmue for having funny like dubs and all that, like, and it's like what they done was in Shenmue 3 was try to double down on it on purpose, when they shouldn't have ever done that. You're just taking the piss out of your own game. You know what I mean? They should have tried to be serious. Because, you know, people do love Shenmue 1 and 2 with a passion. I don't know. There's nothing really good I can say about it other than I think people should form their own opinion. But like, as a Shenmue fan, greatly disappointed in Shenmue 3. And mostly, it could have been a shit game gameplay-wise, and I would have been totally okay with it if they just actually like gave me some sort of a story that I'd been waiting 20 years for. Do you know what I mean? But they never did. You know, and I didn't want the series to end. I wanted a continuation. A nice continuation. Some answers. Something. But like, nah, we just got nothing, you know? Real fucking bummer. So it's like if the series died now, it's like it kind of deserved it. Do you know what I mean? After that horrible attempt at a third game. That's genuinely how I look at it. They're trying to save what they can with the Shenmue cartoon. And the cartoon just came out, and I watched like 20 minutes of the first episode, and I was pissed off. But like, that's just a thing that like annoyed me. In the cartoon, in the games, right, we all talk about like Ryo has
原崎がいた。
原崎、どんな人？
写真を持ってる。
Like Ryo has a scar on his left cheek, but it's always covered with a plaster. And nobody really knows what happened to it.
みんなこんなに綺麗なの？
どうかな。
So they retconned it in the
とっても
cartoon.
優しそう。
I mean, people had speculated for years what the fuck was going on with his scar on his cheek. You know what I mean? This is like nerd fan theories.
それで？
Do you know what it like? Everybody was like, why has he got a plaster there? He's had it on his fucking cheek for 2 games. What's going on? But like Landy's also got a scar on his left cheek, no covered in a plaster. So it led to people thinking a bunch of stuff and theories that just got retconned in the cartoon 2 minutes in, which was really annoying. It almost makes you think he doesn't give a shit about anything.
会いたい？
In the cartoon, they literally just had Landy punch him in the face and cause the scar, and that's why he has a plaster. But that's not what happens, because in Shenmue 1 he's always had a plaster, before he even seen Landy.
他にはどんな人が？
So like, it just kind of like makes you think he doesn't really care about any of the storytelling. If he's willing to retcon little things like that his fan base have been asking him about for years, the lack of effort, do you know what I mean? Like, people have literally asked him what's going on with like that scar and everything, and he's just like, you'll need to wait and see. I don't know what he fucking done was retcon it in the cartoon. He didn't even know himself. Ugh, so annoying. But like, that kind of thing just annoys people that have like played the games for a long time, like myself. Sure, retcons happen, but like, it's just so weird to think that now they want us to like look at his scar on his cheek as well, that he's had for so long, and just be like, oh, Landy gave him that in the dojo, when in the games he didn't though. You know, just weird things.
それくらいだな。俺の友達は。
そうなの。
Probably. It's all to appeal to the mainstream, yeah. But what a disappointment for someone that people have thought about for 20 plus years with his plaster. It might not seem like a big deal to people that have not played Shenmue, but like, because people, and myself included, thought for years that we were never ever ever going to get a Shenmue 3 anyway. Do you know what I mean? We're like, dude, I wonder what the scar was all about, and do you know what I mean? And why does Landy have one in the same place on his cheek? So people theorised for so long about little things about Shenmue. They theorised for so long, dude. You know? It's what keeps communities going. It's why everyone was hashtagging saving Shenmue for 20 years, man. You know, like, all over Twitter in the later years as well, and what kept Shenmue alive. Because if it wasn't for, like, Save Shenmue and that, it wouldn't have been fucking saved. Because we all made our voices heard with Shenmue. Everyone. So it really just feels like they really don't care, though, at the end of the day. If they're just willing to retcon something that people have thought about for a long, long time, that just Lan Di fucking punched him in the face, is so stupid. And just like a big fuck you to the fan base. That he doesn't even, like, care that much to, like, okay, maybe it was always just supposed to be a plaster. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe it was always just supposed to be a wee thing. But, like, he could have just shown it in one of the games. Like, let's just say if he took his plaster off in Shenmue 3. Do you know how big a deal it would have been in Shenmue 3 if he, like, took his plaster off or something and it, like, I don't know, just something that acknowledged it. Even that is, like, more storytelling than what Shenmue 3 done in its entirety. Little things like that for the fan base that would have meant something. It's what pissed me off about the cartoon as well. Was like that if he's just willing to retcon something like that, then I don't think he truly cares about, like, making or continuing a good story. As long as he pleases the mainstream, which is what it's all about these days. But Shenmue's definitely one series where if it was not for the fans, you wouldn't be able to do anything at all. Do you know what I mean? And he literally didn't do anything for us. I don't think. To each his own, no? But, like I say, 9 out of 10 people will just look at it like, so what, it's just a retcon. But when it was 20 years without any info about anything. Doesn't matter, his plaster means nothing now. Do you know what I mean? Just like that. Just like that. It's whatever though. Like I'm saying, it's nerd stuff for people that have been fans for a long, long time. But that's how it works. Do you know what I mean? That's how some series stay alive, yo. What can you do though? Nothing really. I think about giving the cartoon another bash though. That just pissed me off when I first seen it. But I'll be like, you know, whatever. I should watch the rest of it. But I'll bet you it's really cut out a lot of stuff. Because, like, what were they doing? Trying to, like, incorporate Shenmue 1 and 2 into a few episodes? Seems pretty crammed, right? But, I don't know, we'll check it out. I should watch at least a cartoon. It'll be better than 3. The thing is, it's just like a recap of 1 and 2 anyway. With retcons, I imagine. Like the Scar, you know, so there is that. But at least it feels more like Shenmue than anything else.
一眠りできた。太極拳、それもお父さんから？
いや、香港で習った。見よう見まねに近いけど、大地の気を吸い上げ、丹田に溜めるって聞いた。
木にも水にも石にも全てに力が宿っている。
At the end of the day, I still feel like Shenmue 3. If Shenmue 3 was done in a cartoon form, would have been better for Shenmue 3 even in that game. Because at least with a cartoon, they would be able to do some cool shit. You know what I mean? I genuinely feel like that. We talked about it for years as fans, that if it came out as a book or a cartoon or something, it would be much better than probably what the game could be. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way the game's going to be able to live up to anything. But at least if they did do a cartoon, it might look a bit more epic. So, like, I think Shenmue 3 would have been better done in a bloody cartoon. Because they could have, like, actually done some story, maybe. Who knows?
火を絶やすわけにはいかないな。
今度は私が火の番をする。亮も少し眠って。
いいのか？
うん。
ありがとう。
I'm not too sure if that anime is actually covering Shenmue 3 or anything, but I don't know. All I know is it's supposed to cover 1 and 2. Is it already over? I'm not even sure. I'm gonna interrupt her.
シェンファ
ごめんなさい。起こした。
Yes, you did actually.
いや
Yes. What? No, she did though.
村に古くから伝わる歌。
ハッカソンに
ええ。村には古い歌もたくさん残ってる。
その歌の意味は
ケイリンの風景を歌ったもの。雨上がりにケイリンの山々がきらめいて、きれいな水が泉に湧き出てくる。その泉が京水泉の源よ。
京水泉って
They might expand some Shenmue 3 story then, Sean. You never know.
あ
夏になると澄んだ水のほとりにホタルがたくさん舞う。
あだからホタルの川京水泉か。
そう。
シェンファ
Yeah, they might.
そろそろ変わろう。
ありがとう。
Wonder how many episodes it is. If they crammed all of like Shenmue 1 and 2 into a few episodes, that's really quick. Yeah, yeah.
ああシェンファーの言った通りだな。
行きましょう。こっち。
It is chill for show. Supposed to be big time. I think because I've played the game so much, the least part of the game I play now is Shenmue 4. Shenmue Disc 4. Mostly because it is just a walk and talk and... Do you know what I mean? But it is supposed to be, like what you say, therapeutic chilling, getting to know Shenhua and Guilin. You know, that's what it's all about. Some nice tunes here.
シェンファー
何？
先を急ごう。
うん。
It's a nice epilogue to the game, you know, like we've just been through hell, kicking the shit out of Don Yu and the Yellowhead, and like he needs to relax and chill out a bit.
崖崩れか。ここを通るのは無理だな。
You know, that's not too bad. 8 episodes for Mu 2, so maybe it doesn't cut out too much, but... You know?
別の道があるって言ってた。
別の道？
来る途中に分かれ道があった。
あの道か。
もしかすると。
I might give it all a watch.
よし、 行ってみよ
Right now I'm watching Are You Afraid of the Dark though. It's good shit. 2021 season that came out. I don't remember the ways to go.
う。この道がそうなのか。
そうかもしれない。よくわからない。
どっちにしてもこの道を行くしかないな。
うん。
Essentially as well, I don't know if I've even mentioned because we've been talking over all the Japanese. She's taken us to Bailu village, which is where she lives and that, you know. Like I say, it is a getting to know you disc though, you know. I couldn't believe that's how Shenhua's looked in that. I'm telling you now, it's because of the Unreal Engine, no, Sean. It's because Yu Suzuki and his crew don't have a whole lot of experience in Unreal. Like, even games that are in Unreal, like, they have baggy clothes. Do you know what I mean? And, like, that's just how, like, outfits look in the Unreal Engine and that. Unless you're, like, good at developing. Oh, see, I'm at a fucking dead end, dude. Actually, you're better, like, marking this off.
行き止まりね。他の。
そうしよ
Better marking the dead end. But, yeah. And I just think with their lack of development on Unreal Engine games, that like she had a baggy outfit that looked like shit, you know, in Shenmue 3. That outfit was terrible in Shenmue 3 though. Compared to like what she's wearing here though. It's a 50-50. Yeah, well, oh my god, I did. Look at that. Know what I mean?
行き止まりね。他の道。
う。そうだな。
Yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark ended a long time ago, but they done a series and they done a new season in 2019. I watched it the other day, really good, and I'm just going to watch season 2 now, which was 2021, because their third season is coming out in like several days. So yeah, and it's no terrible. Very good, actually. Going left.
川か。
よう。あそこなら渡れそう。
ああ。
苔の生えている石には気をつけて。滑りやすくなってるから。
だけどこれぐらいの浅瀬なら。
川の流れは見た目以上に力がある。滑れば浅いところでも足をくじくことがあるわ。
わかった。気をつける。
私が先に行く。よう、こっち。行きましょう。日が暮れないうちに。
そうだな。
Yeah, I made sure we got it. Yeah, there's also like the mountains as well that he has to cross, eh? It's easy to screw up some of these QTEs, man.
ハッカソン。りょう、この道でよかったんだ。
あ
Oh, what got
あ、こ
that?
のまま行けばいいんだな。
うん。
Oh.
よし、行こ
Yeah, the bloody, what's it, because we have to like cross the mountains too or some shit, and it's easy to fall on the mountains. Yeah, I was talking about that before we started playing Shenmue 2. Is that this game will teach you like some pretty good, like common Japanese. You know what I mean? I feel like the Dreamcast era in general done a pretty good job with that. So like things like arigato gozaimasu and like the little words and simase like excuse me and all that, just like basic Japanese stuff.
う。また
And
川だ
considering I was playing this game so much,
あ
you know what I mean? It's like you could easily learn little bits. I also learned some from Soul
あ、
Calibur.
柔術の足さばきと一緒だな。
Soul Calibur and Dreamcast was also
日本の武術だ。
Japanese.
俺は親父から習った。足は低きにつけ、鳥が水面を滑るがごとし。そう教わった。シェンファーはそれが自然に身についているのか。
りょうはどんな時でも武術が頭にあるのね。
いや、そういうわけじゃ。
私が先に行く。
Yeah. So desu ka?
りょう、気をつけて。よかった。無事に渡れて。
あ
行きましょう。ハッカソンはまだ先よ。
あ、わかった。
Oh my god. Getting pretty unlucky with these dead ends here.
行き止まりね。他に。
Ah, it's a dead end, yes, yes. Shh. One thing I didn't remember is the exact paths to take on disc 4. Oh yeah? I would assume, yeah. It would be nice to learn it though, you know. Right, I'm swinging it right, man. I'm determined that right's the answer. I'm going right, dude. Yeah, the graphics are pretty different on the Xbox version, Sean, which is what the later HD remasters are based off too, you know? Because I forgot when I was talking about Space Harrier, I was like, oh my god, Shenmue 2's version of Space Harrier sucks. And it does.
本当か？
But not on the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast version of the Space Harrier on Shenmue 2 is exactly the same as Shenmue 1. And I'd forgot that, because I have played the Xbox version more.
そうか。
But the Xbox version of Space Harrier on Shenmue 2 is dog shit, you know?
あとは私についてきて。
And so is the HD remaster versions of the arcades. Based on dog shit. So it is what it is, huh?
シェンファー、
何？
シェンファーはいつもこのみ。
うん
It's true though.
先を急ごう。
うん
I was like, oh my, because we went in the arcade for a day here, and I was like, oh, look at Shenmue 2. I was telling Bob,
りょう
look at
ちょっと
Space
遠回
Harrier.
りになるけど
And I was surprised to learn it was exactly the same as
花？
Dreamcast Shenmue 1.
行ってみる？りょう
そうだな。せっかくだ。
It's just been a long time since I've played
こっち
Dreamcast Shenmue 2. I genuinely couldn't tell you. I've not played Dreamcast Shenmue 2 a long time. I'm just trying to think of the top of my head. Last time I attempted playing Dreamcast Shenmue 2 was 8 years ago when I played Shenmue 1 Dreamcast for the YouTube. And we managed to get a playthrough out on a brand new Dreamcast, and then it died like 4 episodes in on Shenmue 2. That was the last time I played Dreamcast Shenmue 2. So I have played Xbox more. And it's because the Dreamcast suffers a horrible problem with the consoles known as the reset problem, where they just start resetting. It's a horrible thing that happened to Dreamcasts, but it happens to a lot of them. And it's happened to every Dreamcast I've ever known. All but since getting this new Dreamcast, which has like a completely different power supply. So I've been able to enjoy playing Shenmue 2 on the Dreamcast for the first time in over 8 years. And I really couldn't tell you how long ago it was. I could actually probably look at
綺麗でしょ
the saves and it would probably say something like 2002.
だ。
There's a good
前に
chance
ここを通った時はまだつぼみだったけ
that
ど
the last time I played Dreamcast Shenmue 2 was in the Dreamcast era. And I'd be able to tell by the
ま
saves
だ
on the
この先
memory
も花が
card.
いっぱいよ
あ
On my other memory card there because I'd never saved over them. Do you know what I mean? I used to play Shenmue 2 on the Xbox 360's emulation a lot. Which is a pretty bad version, but just because there's emulation bugs, you know.
シェンファ
何？
ー、先を急ごう。
うん
Yeah, it's crazy to think though that I have played the Xbox version mostly. But no really. Mostly because I like
りょう
不思議な形の木だな。
これは雲の木
雲？
村ではそう呼んでる枝が雲の足
I'm
み
just
た
glad I
いでし
didn't
ょ
play that HD one.
そういえば似てるな。
村へ帰るとき
But that was the
この
last
木が見えると
of
少
both
し
of
ホ
them
ッ
that I
とする
え？
played. It's weird to play the Dreamcasts
Dreamcast
fighting for Shenmue 2, which is
この木が
superior
目印なの
over the Xbox. I don't know if you remember. In the Xbox version of Shenmue 2
村はこっち
and even the HD remaster, they added the blur effect. You know, there's like a blur effect in Xbox Shenmue 2 and the HD one where you're fighting and there's like a weird shadow behind you. I hated that effect. You couldn't take it
私は
off,
大丈夫
そうだった。
so you kind of have to deal with
い
it
や、大丈夫だ。
焦らなくても
シェンファーの
in those versions of the games. But in Dreamcast,
泉か。
うん
it doesn't have it. It's normal fighting. It's the only version that has it.
何？
先を急ごう。
うん
また分かれ道か。
りょう
I've got no idea what effect it is, but the shadows that fucking come off them in Shenmue 2 Xbox version,
もう私についてくれば大丈
it's
夫
it's it just like gets in the way fighting.
ああ、そうだ
It's
った。
really knock you back when you look at it and see it for the first time. You're like, what the fuck? But yeah, I'm more used to that. But like coming back to Shenmue 2 here after Shenmue 1, and it's just like Shenmue 1. It's not got that stupid effect. But I'm pretty sure the remaster has it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sean. I don't know. Maybe you can turn it off in the remaster. I really don't know. Yeah, the music's chill in Shenmue Disc 4, Bob. That's what it's all about, you know?
シェンファー、
何？
Now, I've usually said I didn't like walking and talking games,
うん。
but like Shenmue 2 Disc 4, it complements the story to have this disc dedicated to walking and talking.
水の色がこんな。
この泉は
Especially because the whole game's been fighting.
五色線。
昼頃から夜にかけて泉の水が5つの色に変わるの。だから五色線。
Now, if the whole game was like Shenmue 2 Disc 4, it would be trash. I couldn't play a whole game like this. I just could not. But I do like it for like this part of Shenmue 2.
見て、りょう。
Like I say, loads of people think it's the best disc of Shenmue 2, and I can see why. But nah, I'm definitely a disc 3 guy.
どうして
The epicness of disc 3 is too much. It's too good.
そうなのか。
急ぎましょう、りょう。
ああ。ここも土砂崩れか。別の道を探すしかないな。
ごめんなさい、りょう。
え？
私についてくれば大丈夫なんて偉そうに言ったのに。
気にするな。
うん。
さっきの分かれ道まで戻ろう。
ええ。
こっちへ進むしかないな。
そうね。
よし、ここからまた俺が先に行こう。
わかった。りょうに任せる。
I think I will go right.
Ah, 待って、りょう。
どうしたシェンファー？
これ薬草なの。
薬草？
そう。父の病気によく効くの。
え？お父さんの？
ごめんなさい。待たせちゃった。
ああ、行こう。
Man, I'm going right. Could be a mistake though. Left felt good there. Oh my god.
行き止まりね。他の。
そうだな。
Yes, it's a dead end. That's why they like making the dead ends, because she stops to ask you, is it dead end? I'm like, yeah. Move along. Right just felt good there, Bob, you know. Oh my god, dude, this game was too good, you know. Fucking bummer. Going right. Just so you know.
ん？
どうしたの、りょう。
これはさっきの薬草だな。向こうにもあるな。
あ、こんなに。 薬草がこんなにたくさんあるなんて。
Herb action here.
Huh, これくらいかな。
うん、これで父も助かるわ。
よかったな。
亮のおかげ。
いや、
Wait, was she trying to kiss him there?
先を急いだ方
I
がい
think
い。
she did actually. Trying to give him a peck, you know, he was like, no. Forgot about that. I think she's only 15 in this game. Going right, man. Bob, what do you think? Right looks good to me. Wait a minute. Hold up. Oh my god, I think it's got to be left. Okay, I'm going left. Yeah, yeah. Wait a minute. No way! It was right? See, that's what I mean.
行き止まりね。
It's a dead end,
こっち
yes.
よ。
Please. That was 3 rights in a row then. What a game though, you know. That's what gets me about, like,
いくつもつながってるの。ケイリンではこんな
I wish I liked
景色があちこちで見
Yakuza.
られる。
I do, I wish I
初
liked
めて
it.
見た時は
But
私も驚いたけど。
doesn't he do it for me?
まるで人が作っ
I
たみ
don't
たい
think
だ。
they're really like Shenmue, if I
Oh,
was being honest.
長い長い時間をかけて
They're about
風
mafia
と
and all
水
that.
が岩の形を変えていく。
そうか。
So that's what gets me when people say these games are like a poor man's Yakuza.
でも
It's a wee bit shit when people say that, but I still think there's a lot of stuff in Shenmue that Yakuza still doesn't even have,
ゆっくり渡れば大丈夫よ。
if I was being
行きまし
honest.
ょう。
ああ、俺が先に行こ
Like, I feel like even Sleeping Dogs as a game that was for like, well, that's in Hong Kong though, but similar type of game. Oh wow, I can't save it here. I feel like Sleeping Dogs even had a wee bit more going on in it than some Yakuza games. Just like, there is a lot of reusing in Yakuza, but I've tried to get into so many of the games, I can't do it. I just can't help but think, dude, as well, if Shenmue had been really, really popular and not been on a fucking Dreamcast, like when you think about it, the series would have done better if it just waited till the PS2. You know what I mean?
う。橋が。
It mostly failed because it was on a dead machine, dude. It's just that simple.
あ
亮も早く。
あ、ああ。
さあ行きましょう。道は続いている。
よし。
ハッカソン。 りょう、行きましょう。
ああ、このまま行けばいいんだな。
うん。
よし、行こう。
Oh my god, where are we going? Where are we going here? Going right. Does what? Sorry.
これはなんだ？
これは石獅王。
石獅王？
分かれ道に置く中国の古い道しるべ。
道しるべ。じゃあ
いつもの道に戻れた。この先は知っている道。
そうか。
ここから村まではもう遠くない。行きましょう。私についてきて。
ああ。
Nah, I don't think so.
シェンファー。
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think it's like randomly generated, because like I've done playthroughs where I've went the right way every time, like once or twice.
どうしたシェンファー？
It's always the same. Like you could follow a guide that just tells you which way to
迷っ
go.
たのか？
大丈夫。どっちに行っても村には帰れる。ただどっちかの道が遠回りになる。よく似た道だから見分けがつかなくて。
よし。じゃあ俺が決めよ
そうね。そうして。
Right, so we'll go left.
こっちの道へ行ってみよ
This one's different here. We can choose to go like left or right, and something different kind of
う。これは？
happens.
タンポポの
Yeah,
綿帽子。
dandelions. Aye.
そうか。タンポポか。
Yeah, so like I've actually got the official guide for this game, and it actually says
小さい
here
頃から
when you get to
ここ
the
でよく
second half of the
綿帽子を飛ば
path
して遊んだ。
after you cross the river, take a left at the first fork, and then go either right twice or left twice. So like
子供の頃の
it's
こと
no
だ。
like randomly generated. Nah,
私は今でも
it's a specific way. But you can see extra shit depending on going different ways. If we went right there, we wouldn't have seen the dandelions. So this wee bit gives you like an extra scene, I guess. The only guide that exists for Shenmue 2 as well, which is really interesting. The Dreamcast one had the official Prima guide, but like
綺麗でしょ。
it's only the Xbox version that ever got a Prima guide for Shenmue 2. There's no like Dreamcast version of this guide. So, but I bought these guides back in the day.
さあ、行
The
きましょ
Shenmue
う。
2 copy is so mint even today for like being 20-year-old. This is so crazy when I look at it. Because even my Shenmue 1 version is not even this good condition. This is actually a 21-year-old guide I'm holding here. Had this for 21 years. And it's crisp as the day I got it. Near enough. I just like, there's some games where I was like, oh, I'd love to own, like, I always counted, it wasn't necessarily for the walkthrough, for having, like, the Prima guide for this game. These were always, like, considered back in the day as, like, merchandise for games. Do you know what I mean? Which I really like. Yeah, it's even got, like, a stylized Xbox symbol on this Prima guide. So, like, they actually changed the colour from red. I don't know if you've ever seen Prima guides, but they have, like, a red border up the top, Prima official strategy guide. But like this one's in green and got an Xbox symbol in the middle. So Xbox kind of went through a period of adding like their logo to Prima guide merchandise.
りょう、村
Some
は
other guides that I have that are official. I've only got 3. No wait, I've got 4 official Prima guides. Got Shenmue 1, Shenmue 2, Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, which is a fantastic one actually. And Ninja Gaiden 2. There's still a bunch I would like to get out there in the wild, like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. 1 and 2 would be cool.
シェンファー。
何？
Maybe even Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, but people charge a fortune for like Prima guides these days if you find them on eBay, unless it's a shitty game. This guide's not exactly as mint as what I'm making it out to be. It's got like marks on it, but for being 21-year-old. So as the Shenmue 2 front cover from Xbox.
滝の水音みたい。左の道から聞こえる。
滝があるのか。
うん。この
The
近くに
guide
滝
was
なん
done
て
in a
なかった
different
はず。
style from the Shenmue one, though.
じゃあ、あの音は。
わからない。
Somewhat similar. It actually uses a lot of pictures from the Shenmue passport, which was taken from Shenmue 1 disc 4, you know, because they had high renders in that disc, you know, still higher renders than the actual game itself. Yeah, the graphics on the Shenmue passport cutscenes are like on another level. Actually, the characters look a wee bit different. They couldn't have had those graphics in the final game, unfortunately. Even Shuing is in like the Shenmue passport, and she's only a Shenmue 2 character, you know what I mean? They really put a lot of effort into that Shenmue passport. So much marketing in Shenmue. They did put a lot of effort into it.
枯れた川に水が戻った。
え？
見て。この川にはもういくつきも水が流れていなかった。
そうか。この滝の音だったのか。でも、どうして急に水が？
昨日の雨。あの雨が滝になって川に流れ込んでいるの。
あの雨がこの滝に。
うん。激しい雨が上がった後はあちこちに小さな滝ができる。
そうなのか。
川は利口に向かう。村はこの上流よ。
よし、行こ
う。うん。
シェンファー。
何？
先を急ごう。
うん。
Yeah, I prefer hurrying on.
Ryo。
ん？
もうすぐ森を出る。
ああ。
ここまで来ればあと少し。行きましょう。
I mean, you could literally see the whole areas if you want. Well, we're out of it now. Cool. But yeah.
りょう、家はすぐそこよ。
そうか。シェンファー、ハッカソンはもう近いのか。
村の人たちが住んでいるところまではもうちょっとある。
そうなのか。
でも私の家はこの小さな丘を登ったところにあるの。
でも俺はハッカソンへ。
りょうには命を助けてもらった。そのお礼をしたいの。
え？
家で休んでいって。いいでしょ？
ああ、わかった。
うん。さあ、ついてきて。
I think we can actually run past her, or at least I have in the past. Yep, there. Managed to. You can run past her in this wee bit and have a wee look around.
ここよ。
この木は？
シェンムー。
え？
シェンムーという木よ。
シェンムー。
毎年この季節になると綺麗な花を咲かせる。
そうか。
私にとっては大切な思い出の木。
今年もまたシェンムーの木いっぱいに花が咲いたな。
シェンファー、きれいな花。
そうだ、この子の名をシェンファーとしよう。
シェンファー、それがいいですわ。シェンムーの木がきっとこの子を守ってくださる。
Remember, it was like, I don't know, it's just like naming the game after a tree, you know? Hmm.
シェンムーの木に咲く花がシェンファ。
え？
そう、私の名前。
Shenmue's a cool name for a video game, though. As far as video game names go, what do you think are some of your favourite names for a video game? Do you know what I mean? Shenmue. It just feels unique when you say it. Do you know what I mean? Which is why it still bugs me that basically UK people, Scottish, Irish, they still call the game Shenmue. And it's no Shenmue. That's what we all called it when we didn't know how it was pronounced. But some people still call it Shenmue. Just because nostalgia.
俺の家にも春に花を咲かせる木があった。
寮の家にも？
桜という木だ。薄桃色の花が枝いっぱいに咲く。
桜。寮もその木に思い出が？
あ
行きましょう。こっちよ。
I mean, you know, when it comes to like the ending for the game, though, there's not much to say about this disc other than it is a chill fest. So I'm not entirely sure how to commentate it. It's a slow disc. Not much happens. You know what I mean? As far as like an epilogue goes, it's a good epilogue. And it doesn't last too long, you know, because you can kind of like skip the bits. But it is supposed to be more of a getting to know Shenhua kind of disc. She's cool. You know what I mean? And, pretty sick ending that we were left with for 20 years.
あ。どうしたシェンファー？
子供の頃、あのブランコでよく遊んだの。
But like, I guess if I was to say my least favorite part of the game,
シェンムーの花が咲く頃になる
I
と。
don't know. It's not like it's not like the disc 4 is like a bad part of the game or anything. Some people love it the most.
ええ、
But like, it's definitely slow, so there's not much to talk
そう
about.
か。
Nothing really huge happens other than like, you know, we could talk to Shenhua for an hour, half an hour, but I didn't really bother. I've done all this in the past, but
もうすぐ日が暮れる。今日は泊まっていった方が。
like, it's like the worst part of the game is airing the books out. To be brutally honest,
助けてくれ
but
たお礼
like
を少しでもしたいの。
more happens in the first, second, and third disc. But like it's no like that in the fourth disc. It's supposed to be chilling out, you know. But just no much happens. It's just slow. It's slow, you know. And even then, there's like a story standpoint from why the books are. Some games take themselves seriously to the point that we're being punished airing out the books, which is why it's a shitty bit of the game, and they make you feel that it's a shitty bit. So you can argue that too.
ここは寝室か。勝手に入らない方がいいな。シェンファー。
りょう、
Oh, dude, yeah, that's defo eye candy.
ああ、いい匂いがするな。
Absolutely. I think it's still eye
いっぱいご
candy.
馳走するから楽しみに
As
待
far
っ
as
てて。
Dreamcast graphics go and that, and like, this game still looks amazing. It's like roaming around this disc. I still think it looks fantastic. Do you know what I mean? It still gives that feeling of like security
座って。
あ
in terms of that. I always said just like Shenmue games were pretty ahead of their time in terms of
あ、いや、
graphics.
うまそうだ。
To the point where I think they still kind of stand up, but obviously no close to the graphics of this day and age, but
この
it's
肉
not
は
all about graphics now, because like there's art styles and that, and you can attribute older graphics like this to a style now, I think.
そうか。
So it doesn't really like...
ああ、そうだな。
There's no, I don't think there's any looking at games and saying they have bad graphics anymore. That's just not a thing. Do you know what I mean? I think most people who play games these days know that games have older graphics, and that's just how it goes, you know?
ゆっく
Like,
り
I
くつろ
still
いでい
think
て。
these ones look great.
この家のどこでも好きに使っていいから。
ありがとう。
大したもの
Like,
じゃ
I
な
think
い
we
け
could
ど
play this game 20 years
こ
from
の
now
辺
and
りで
still
集め
think
た
it
もの
looks
がある
great.
から。
Do you know what I
よかった
mean?
ら
Like,
見
it
てい
still
て。
will only be like...
ああ、そうする。
Games that look terrible, like, don't really stand the test of time is like, what games really don't? It's like some games... Castlevania 64. It's like an example. N64 graphics have a bit of a hard time standing the test of time. You know what I mean? Like, I guess N64 if anything.
これは。
Yeah, some old PS1 games, maybe like Croc or something, you know, that kind of style, like the beginning of the era ones.
どうしたの？
Tomb Raider 1, you know, kind of like look a bit rough around the edges. The shell. Still pretty classic though when you play like a game like Tomb Raider 1, you know? Like some people look at Final Fantasy VII OG and they're like, I can't play it because of the graphics. And I understand it, but I don't let graphics get in the way of me enjoying something. You know what I
こ
mean?
の図面は。
But I don't think you can look at Shenmue and be like, oh, I'm not going to play it because of its graphics being sold. Don't get me wrong, some people are like that.
それ以上のことは
But I
何も
think it's a hard
な
one
く
to
て。
say with this game.
りょう、この鏡は一
Like, I
体
guess I can understand it in a game like
親父に託され
PS1
たも
Final
のだ。
Fantasies, but it still seems rough to me
りょうのお父さんに？
if people would do that. But
この石はハッカソンでしか取れない糖が緑石。
塔が緑石。
どうしてこの鏡が日本に？
わからない。
父なら何か知っているかもしれない。
お父さんは今どこに？
石切り場にいるわ。そこで糖が緑石を。
どこにあるんだ？
ここから一つ山を越えたところにあるの。何かを完成させると言って、もう何日も石切り場にこもりきりなの。
俺をそこへ案内してくれ。
明日の朝、食事を届けに行くから、その時一緒に。
わかった。
Wagata. I'm wondering if there's any like bad looking Dreamcast games. Dude, the Dreamcast has like most games look better than PS2. You know?
シェンファー、
あ、りょう、おはよ
おはよ
う。今、お弁当の準備をしているの。もう少し待ってて。お待たせ。父のところへ行きましょう。
う。あ
Yeah, we're gonna go visit our father in the mine. always wish that PS2 was able to output native 480p.
こっちよ。私についてきて。
ああ、シェンファー、
何？
その石切り場って
洞窟の中なの。
洞窟か。
洞窟をたどるとホールがあって。
Some games can't really play well in 480p though.
どんな塔が
You can like hack some games in PS2 to play in 480p.
その
But it's like the game's only supposed to run at higher resolution.
そうだ。
まさか。
Some games do have 480p, yeah, like Haunting Ground and that.
そんない。
But like, dudes, it's like barely any of them.
とにかく。
I don't. It's like there's programs to hack in the 480p now, but like some games just like take Onimusha as an example. Doesn't it run at 480p? If you do hack it to run it at 480p, it doesn't perform half as good. So it's a system limitation as well. You know? It's only if the game is like no that demanding that it can run at 480p. So I don't think it's that they didn't want to do it, it's that they could only do it for some of them. You know what I mean? Because if it could just run everything at a flat out 480p, then doing the hack wouldn't be a problem. Do you know what I mean? Because in OPL you can just enable GSM, it's like this program called GSM, it just enables 480p. Some games can run in it fine, they're only that demanding, but if it's a game that's somewhat demanding, it will only do it, unless the game's been optimised around it entirely, you know. Like Haunting Ground on PS2 is a prime example. You can run that game at 480p, it looks really good. And then like Soul Calibur 2 and 3 run at 480p.
ここが峠よ。
シェンファーはいつもこの道を。
うん。あ。
どうした？
いつもと違う。
何が？
I think the reason that they went out of their way on the Dreamcast to make everything 480p as well is because everything's 60 Hz.
ここは渡り鳥が花をや
That's another thing that our country suffers from is 50 Hz games. So like our PS2s are trash essentially.
何かあったのか？
So like you have to play the American versions of the games like through a hard drive or something, which is what I do. But like 90% of my collection doesn't even have a 60 Hz option for PS2, whereas all my games for Dreamcast have a 60 Hz option, and it's because Sega cared about it, you know what I mean? Like Sony didn't really give a shit though. When you look at like the 50 Hz era, like it's only consoles that gave a shit, like Dreamcast, that are still like where you can use your original collection you had as a kid. You don't want to play games at 18% slower speed. It's torture.
ここよ。
Even Shenmue 2 on Xbox
中は暗いからこれを持って
runs at 50 Hz. You know, the port. So like, it's so bad in that regard that like our older machines didn't really care about giving us 60 Hz options like PS2 and even Xbox. But the Dreamcast did. Oh yes, we're in the cave.
シェンファー。
石切り場とにかく
It's laggy in here. That's also why it's quite good to have like, and like even then you could have like a, what was good about having like a fat PS3 for PS2, you just play your PS2 games in 720p, you know, because of the emulation that's going on. But that's terrible for us too, because our PS3s were region locked for PS2 games, so it wouldn't play 60 Hz American versions.
いつもここに食事を持ってくるの。お父さん。
お父さ
America's fat PS3s are awesome.
どうしたのかしら。
America mostly have best things when it comes to gaming. Retro, anyway. That's what I mean when you see like PAL games as well here on eBay. So like games go for a lot of money these days or whatever, but when you're like searching on eBay for a game and people sell like let's just say Silent Hill 1 on the PS1, people ask for quite a bit of money for it, but like here in PAL land, why would you ever nobody cares about playing like PAL Silent Hill 1, so I don't even know why they can charge like the amount of money for it that they do. Because it's like a bad version of the game, you know? It's just weird how like game prices work and translate into the PAL region, because that just kind of shows you it's all about collection purposes more than even playing the games, because nobody's buying Silent Hill 1 for a UK PS1 to play it, you know? Because like who the fuck would want to play Silent Hill at 18% slower speed? Nobody I know. Well, I don't know. It's like, who knows? People that don't know any better, maybe, but you'd be mostly picking up UK PS1. If you're like picking up like a collection or something on eBay, you're doing it for collection purposes only, and like know the intention to play them. Because if you're going to play any version of any game, you have to play like American these days. For retro games. Anything from like the PS2 era and below. Do you know what I mean? You have to, otherwise it's the 50Hz garbage. Capcom games back in the PS2 era gave us 60Hz options, which was great. You know? As they should, they made bloody fighting games, right? Could you imagine if our fighting games were 50Hz? That would be hilarious. They are essentially 50Hz as well, though. Most people played them at 50Hz. On console.
見て、道が続いている。
とにかく奥へ行ってみよう。
It's made of phantom river stone. This is actually the material of the mirror. Oh wow, you can actually see the mirror from here, actually, the shadow of it.
Shenmue.
父の字。
え
シェンファへ、私の役目は終わった。我ら一族に託されし法王が今
完成した。村に伝わる定めの時が来たんだ。シェンファよ。かの法王を携えし者とその証を確かめるのだ。そしてその者に身を委ねよ。共に行くがよい。お前に家電の七聖剣を授けよう。その剣を私と思い身につけるがいい。私はいつもお前を見守っている。
七聖剣。法王を携えし者、その証を確かめる。
その証って。
わからない。でもきっと ここに何か手がかりがあるはず。
シェンファー、探してみよう。
Where is the clue again here? Here it is.
これは
This part was well out there though, wasn't it? Bloody sword, dude.
聖剣の模様と同じ。りょう、
そうか。
りょう、
Yo, what's up, Toga? You wanted the next game to take place in Canada? Yeah, I don't think that was happening. Nozomi's done.
見てりょう。
Telling you. But like, this game does put it out there that there's some supernatural horse shit going on in this game. Do you know what I mean? But like, I still don't think it. It's not really the supernatural stuff that bothered me in Shenmue 3. It's entirely the story of Shenmue 3. It's non-existent. So like, it doesn't really matter. I was like ready for supernatural stuff to happen and all that. You know, I've got no problem. But it's like just the way they went about the whole entire thing of 3.
これは
りょう、
あ
Yeah, there's no too much to do in this disc. That's definitely like... If this was like the whole game, I would have been upset as a game, but like, because it is only the 4th disc, I kind of like okay with how disc 4 is in Shenmue 2. It's no too long, it's a nice epilogue. We're chilling, learning about Shenhua and that, but if the whole game was like that, which a lot of games are like now, I'd be upset. But I think, like, I don't mind disc 4. It's not my favourite disc or anything, it's Defo 3. But, remember, like, the way we used to think about it back in the day was this is like a little teaser of what, like, Shenmue 3 was going to be about and that. But I didn't think it would be that shite. Do you know what I mean? But I'm okay with it in Shenmue 2. I think maybe because at the end of the day I didn't just burst out Shenmue 1 and 2 in preparation for 3. We'd played these games for 20 years. You know what I mean?
これは
I know what I like, I know what I don't like. You know? And then I've played Disc 4 as well for 20 years. So I know very much what they were trying to do here.
竜と鳳凰、
鏡と同じだ。
父はこれを。
But I don't think anyone who's playing this disc would necessarily like it in this day and age. I don't think so. Because it's more like modern stuff, you know.
Mm.
Martha coming in for the end there, what's up? Joining us for the credits, huh?
共に荒れ野の道を行かん。待ちて願え。開口は我の古よりの定めなり。地より現れし竜が黒雲をいざない天を覆うも。舞よりし鳳凰、その翼によりて四風を生むがごとく。漆黒の世は広がりしも、明星は一つ産卵と輝く。
その歌は
村に古くからある言い伝え。
携えし者。
Yes, I think most people are like that, Toga. 1 and 2 in graphics, yeah. It would have helped. I've not played the DLC for 3. The story goes on. Oh my god. Stared at that screen for 20 years, dude. Oh, what a disappointment. Still though, there could be some life in Shenmue. Like I've said, I've made my voice heard in how I feel about Shenmue 3. I don't know if I ever will play it again. Maybe we will one day. I'm really glad I was able to play these games again. Especially after the horrible couple of years that we've had in here. With Martha keeping his company and everybody else who's came in. I didn't think I would be able to play these games feeling somewhat half reasonable. I'm really happy I was able to like sit here, play this game and actually enjoy it and not be in pain. You know what I mean? Because of COVID and that. But I don't want to talk about it too much. But I didn't think I'd be able to play these games. It seemed like a dream at one point to be able to play these games. Pain. We know that pain. Very happy. I know the photo is ridiculous, Martha. I'm excited. Over the moon excited for the game. You've not been looking up any spoilers, have you? Yeah, I would imagine it's probably fluff DLC, yeah. I won't play Shenmue 3 again because I know I don't like it. I don't play shit games. That is honestly how I look at my gaming career. I don't play shit games. But know that every game I play is no shit to somebody. I'm not meaning it like that. I just don't play games that I find shit. Even if it's called Shenmue. You know what I mean? Yo, cheers, Rick Riding. Cheers for popping in, man. Everybody who's kept me company during these playthroughs, they've been awesome. I might put them up on YouTube as a remaster, actually. We'll see. Because, like, my playthroughs on YouTube are severely dated. So... yeah, I'm staying away now, Martha, as well. I'm not really browsing Reddit or anything. Do you know what I mean? I'm hoping I'll see you for some Xenoblade though, so we can like talk about what's going on. So, because like if you're playing it and I'm playing it, you know. Does the Switch have? Switch is quite a good console now, dude. I mean, I enjoy it more than the other consoles. Like, there's quite a lot of games out in it that I love. Like, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is one of my favourite games ever now. But no to say everyone would enjoy it. I mean, it's like, you know, it's like... Then we've got Xenoblade 3 this week, which is hella exciting. Splatoon. I've never played a Splatoon game. I'm going to play Splatoon 3 in September. Excuse me. And we've got Bayonetta 3 in October. It's a shitload of games coming out on the Switch. And they're the home of Fire Emblem games too, which I like now. So there's quite a lot. And Zelda's. Like, there's a lot of good shit coming out on the Switch. PS3 is good shit though. I think PS3 is like a good machine to have for that generation. I don't think you need a 360 or anything anymore. You might as well just have a PS3 and you can get so many games on that thing. PS3 is legit. PS4 not so much. I feel like... Well, a lot of people are trying to get a PS4 now, eh? So maybe I'm a wee bit... It's just like I've replaced my PS4 with a PS5, so like... Ah, this tune is awesome though. You know what I did hear about Xenoblade though, Martha, is like apparently it's a really long ass tutorial. 10 hours. Like, someone was like saying, wow, I wasn't enjoying it for the first 10 hours. It's slow start. Like most of them, I guess. It takes like 10 hours for the combat to feel good, they were saying, you know? I believe that for sure. Well, you've been looking up stuff, huh? Shenmue, look at that. That's Nao-san up there on the top right, actually. Yu Suzuki! Sir, please. Come on now. Hey man, cheers to everybody who popped in the stream for this playthrough, you know, and Shenmue 1 also. I'm really happy that I got to play these games again and chill out with them, you know. And anybody who watches on YouTube, just in case I do put it up there. Hope it was cool.